Good morning, students. Today is the last topic of neuro-ophthalmology for undergraduates, that is optic atrophy. We have already seen papilledema or optic disc edema, and also papillitis or optic neuritis. Before that, we have seen anatomy, physiology, signs, symptoms. Now, last topic for UG is optic. Now, what is optic atrophy? This term is applied to the condition of the disc which follows degeneration of the optic nerve. So, it is a sequelae or consequence or end stage problem of degenerations of the optic nerve. Optic atrophy refers to late stage changes that take place in the optic nerve resulting from axonal degeneration in the pathway between retina and the lateral geniculate body. You know, optic nerve is nothing but axons. They are axons of the lateral geniculate body. They are axons of the retinal ganglion cells. Retinal ganglion cells. Now, if these axons are degenerated between the retina to lateral geniculate body, the ultimate effect will be atrophy of the optic nerve head or optic nerve. Now, this degeneration can be proximal, that is towards the cerebral side, that is towards the lateral geniculate body, that side, or it can be on the distal side, that is on the ocular side. So the pathology can be ocular side, that is in the retina itself. For example, retinitis pigmentosa. The lesion is in the retina itself, that is distal ocular side. Ultimately, there will be optic atrophy in retinitis pigmentosa. If the lesion is on the cerebral side, that is in the intracranial space occupying lesion, compressing over the fibers, that is a proximal or cerebral side lesion. That also will lead to degeneration of the optic nerve. So lesion can be proximal, cerebral, or on the ocular side. Ultimately, there will be degeneration of the optic nerve fibers leading to optic atrophy. Now, optic atrophy can be divided clinically into various types: primary, secondary, consecutive, or glaucomatous, depending upon the clinical picture. So, what is primary optic atrophy? Primary optic atrophy occurs without antecedent swelling of the optic nerve. So the optic nerve head is not previously affected by any disease, either papilledema or papillitis, that has not affected the optic nerve, but optic nerve undergoes degeneration and ultimately atrophy. This is known as primary optic atrophy. So I will repeat this: there is no previous damage to the optic nerve head in the form of swelling, that is papilledema, or in the form of inflammation, that is papillitis, which has not affected optic nerve previously, but optic nerve undergoes direct degeneration and atrophy. This is known as primary optic atrophy. Now, this is caused by lesions affecting the pathway at any point from retrolaminar portion of the optic nerve. The lamina cribrosa, you know, part of the optic nerve. So retrolaminar part of the optic nerve is affected. From retrolaminar to the lateral geniculate body, anywhere if there is lesion, that will not produce initial papilledema or initial papillitis, will cause ultimately primary optic atrophy. Now, lesions anterior to the optic chiasma, they result in unilateral optic atrophy. If the lesion is anterior to the chiasma, you know, optic nerve finally leads to optic chiasma and then optic tract. Now, if the lesion is anterior to the optic chiasma, there is no question of other side getting affected. This will lead to unilateral optic atrophy, same-sided optic atrophy. Whereas, if the lesion involves chiasma, there is decussation from both sides. It will lead to both-sided damage to the optic tract. Even retrochiasmal. Now retrochiasmal, the optic tract has ipsilateral temporal fibers and contralateral nasal fibers. So chiasma and beyond, any lesion will produce affection of both sides, and field defects will be showing both sided field defects. Best example is pituitary adenoma. Pituitary adenoma affects the part at the chiasm. That will lead to both sided retinal lesions. If you see hemianopia. So depending upon the anatomical site of the lesion, there will be affection of the optic nerve head and the resultant field defects. Now, what are the causes of primary optic atrophy? Multiple sclerosis is the most common cause, because multiple sclerosis will cause retrobulbar neuritis most commonly, which will not have affection on the optic nerve head. So that will lead to primary type of optic atrophy. Recurrent attacks of transient demyelination will cause increasing degree of atrophy. Then there will be optic neuritis. Then compression by tumors and aneurysms. I have asked you a question of Foster-Kennedy syndrome. Foster-Kennedy syndrome is ipsilateral optic atrophy, contralateral papilledema. It is because of the frontal lobe tumors. So compression by tumors and aneurysm can lead to primary type of optic atrophy. There are some forms of hereditary optic neuropathies. UG level I will not like to go into detail, but residents must find out what are the different types of hereditary optic neuropathies. Then toxic and nutritional optic neuropathy. Best example is ethyl alcohol or methyl alcohol poisoning, or you can have drug reduced ethylbutol induced optic nerve problems will lead to toxic or nutritional optic nerve. They produce primary type of optic atrophy. Also trauma can produce primary type of optic. What are the signs here on examination how a primary optic atrophy looks like? It is a flat white disc with clearly delineated margins. Margins will be sharp in contrast to secondary optic atrophy, where there will be blurred margins, because in that case disc is affected by papilledema or papillitis. Here nothing has happened, so margins are sharp, clearly delineated. How is the color? White, or it can be sometimes greenish or bluish. So white disc, chalky white with clear margins. Disc is grey or white, sometimes greenish or bluish tint. There is a stippling of the lamina cribrosa, as the cup is not obscured by any reactionary insult, gliosis before. So this cup will show lamina cribrosa stippling of the lamina cribrosa is seen in the center. Then what is the other characteristics? Number of capillaries on the disc surface will be reduced. If it is less than 6, this is known as Kastenbaum sign. Write down what is Kastenbaum sign. So reduction in the number of capillaries over the disc surface is known as Kastenbaum sign. That is characteristic with primary optic atrophy. Number of blood vessels on the disc are reduced. Then there will be attenuation of peripapillary blood vessels and thinning of the retinal nerve fiber layer. Atrophy may be diffuse, total disc will be atrophied, or it will be sectoral, depending upon the cause and level of the lesion. So one type of is bow tie optic atrophy, where it follows the pattern of bow and tie. So this is known as diffuse or sectoral optic atrophy. Find out the cause of bow tie optic atrophy. There is slight cupping, atrophic cupping, which can be distinguished from glaucomatous cupping. So if the slight cupping is seen, you will have to differentiate it from glaucomatous cupping. Other useful information you will get from glaucomatous cupping, like nasal shifting, bayoneting sign, etc. That will be helpful in for differentiating primary optic atrophy from glaucomatous optic atrophy. Coming to next type, clinical, secondary optic atrophy. As the name suggests, this is secondary to something. So something has happened. What has happened? There is either papilledema, that is been raised intracranial tension producing hydrostatic edema of the optic disc, or inflammation, optic neuritis. So the optic atrophy which follows some other primary cause like optic neuritis, like papilledema, is known as secondary optic atrophy. This secondary optic atrophy, as the name suggests, is preceded by long-standing swelling of the optic nerve head. There is already swelling of the nerve head, papilledema or papillitis, long-standing. So first there will be swelling of the nerve head, and that subsequently will lead to optic atrophy. That is why it is called as secondary optic atrophy. It has a slight different ophthalmoscopic picture as compared to primary. So it has definitely a different fundoscopic picture as compared to primary. Now it again repetition, it follows an injury or direct pressure affecting the visual nerve fibers in any part of their course from lamina to geniculate. Now what we have seen in primary is retrolaminar to geniculate. Here it is lamina is also involved. So a insult is already done to the lamina like papilledema, like papillitis, or direct pressure. So whatever has happened has involved lamina. So lamina to geniculate body, some injury has taken place which subsequently has caused secondary optic atrophy. Also known as, it is also known as post-neuritic optic atrophy. What are the causes? All causes of papilledema. So they will subsequently lead to post-papillitic optic atrophy. So causes of progenic papilledema will lead to post-papillitic optic atrophy. Anterior ischemic optic neuropathy. My residents, if they will learn better more in the AIOL, UG level, I am not expecting anything. So there is damage in the form of ischemia has taken place already to the disc. So anterior ischemic optic neuropathy will lead to secondary optic atrophy. Papillitis, optic neuritis, as already we have discussed. The atrophy subsequent to papillitis is secondary optic atrophy. Retrobulbar neuritis, I don't think it fits into this. It will lead to primary type of optic atrophy. So this is, I think you have to verify, but this should come into primary optic atrophy. Fracture of the base of the skull with destruction of the nerve in the orbit lead to secondary optic atrophy. What are the signs? Now here there is slight raised lesion is there. So disc is white or greyish disc, but it is will be labeled as dirty grey. It is dirty grey color. Margins are delineated. This is in differentiation to the primary optic atrophy. Margins are diffuse or poorly delineated. They are not sharply delineated as shown in this picture, and the color is dirty grey. Obscuration of the lamina cribrosa. So central cup is obscured, so is the obscuration of lamina cribrosa. Also there will be reduction in the number of small blood vessels on the disc surface. So disc surface will show a reduced number of blood vessels, which we have already discussed with primary Kastenbaum. Peripapillary circumferential retinochoroidal folds. There can be evidence of peripapillary circumferential retinochoroidal folds, especially temporal, which are known as pattern lines, which we see with the papilledema. So they will be present here also post-papillitic optic atrophy. Coming to third type of optic atrophy, which is known as consecutive. Consecutive optic atrophy is caused by disease of the inner retina or its blood supply. So primary damage is where? In the retina. So you will have to search surrounding retina if you want to diagnose a case of consecutive optic atrophy. You must find out some disease of surrounding retina, which then only you will be able to tell that yes, probably this disease has resulted into optic atrophy. Cause is usually obvious on fundus exam. So fundus examination, you will be no need of doing MRI in consecutive. You will find the cause in the retina itself. So fundoscopy will be enough to diagnose a consecutive optic atrophy. What are the causes? Retinitis pigmentosa. Extensive photocoagulation. As a treatment of diabetic retinopathy, if we give extensive photocoagulation, that can lead to some amount of optic atrophy, which is known as conjunctival. Suppose retina is suffered from retinal artery occlusion. That particular lesion will ultimately cause optic atrophy. This is known as conjunctive optic atrophy. Disc will appear here waxy. See, there are different descriptions for each. Chalky white was for primary, dirty grey was secondary. Here now waxy yellow. So disc will appear waxy yellow with reasonably preserved architecture. Other architecture of the disc is preserved. Margins are not distorted. Other architecture is preserved. Only thing, color of the disc will be waxy yellow. Edges are less sharply defined and the vessels are markedly contracted. There is contraction of the vessels. Last step is glaucomatous. I think this will be taught to you in details in glaucoma chapter, but I will repeat here. Now glaucoma affects the ganglion cell. So again there is a death of retinal ganglion cells in the retina in glaucoma. That is a primary event. So this event this particular death is known as apoptosis. It is a programmed cell death than necrosis. So apoptosis is a concept which is known as programmed cell death. That results into RGC death in glaucoma. So either there are various theories. One theory says direct mechanical damage because of the raised IOP, or there will be ischemic. Raised IOP ultimately causes ischemic damage due to compression of blood vessels supplying the nerve, or there are common pathways. So these are pathophysiology of glaucoma. They ultimately will cause RGC death leading to atrophy. Both mechanisms will lead to reduction in the exoplasmic flow, interference with delivery of nutrients or removal of metabolic products, deprivation of neuronal growth factors, oxidative injury and initiation of immune mediated damage. There is now how glaucomatous optic atrophy looks like is wide curve disc ratio 0.8, 0.9, thinning of the retinal neuroretinal rim, perivapillary atrophy, bayoneting sign, splinter hemorrhages, all these are, and nasalization of the vessels, nasal shifting of the vessels. All these are characteristics of glaucomatous optic atrophy. Now, what is the treatment of optic atrophy? Optic atrophy per se has no effective treatment. You will have to find out the cause and treat the cause. The prognosis depends on the possibility of early control of the causal factor. So, if you find out the cause, that suppose there is a alcohol related toxic amblyopia, what is the treatment? Withdrawal of the alcohol. So patient has to stop taking alcohol, ethyl alcohol or methyl alcohol, and then supplementary treatment like vitamin B complex or neurobion type of drugs. But primary will be abstinence from the alcohol. Similarly, all types of optic atrophies, you must know the cause and intervene depending upon the cause. Your timely intervene, you will be able to halt further progress of the optic atrophy. But once whatever damage has taken place, you will not be able to reverse. So depending upon the stage of the optic atrophy, you can halt the damage, further deterioration will be prevented, but the damage done there will not be regeneration of the fibers. Once which fibers have been lost, they will not be regenerated. But till the total atrophy has set in, what you will find out that patient will be partially blind, pupil will be showing RAPT type of defect, and VEP will be showing conduction defect. So these are and there will be again color vision defects. So these things will be possible till optic nerve atrophy totally has not set in. Once atrophy totally sets in, pupil will be dilated fixed, vision will be no pain, no fear. So this stage will cause total optic atrophy, and till some fibers are viable, we will call it as partial optic atrophy. So partial optic atrophy, partial vision, RAPD type of defect and dyschromatics are the signs. Total atrophy, dilated fixed pupil, vision no PL, no PR, and of course no color vision. That will be total optic atrophy. So this was the topic of optic atrophy. Easy, it has been asked many times for in the theory exam. Go through that. From next time onwards, we will start the next topic of injuries. Okay, thank you.